February 28, 1993. The dust cleared 2.5 hours after the ATF drove in. We had 6 of our people dead. We had 4 or 5 wounded. The ATF had 4 dead, 22 wounded, from what I understand. Those that died that day in the first initial shooting were Winston Blake, 28 years old, from England. Winston was shot sitting in his room behind the water tanks at the back of the building. When the helicopter shot up our water supply, he just happened to be behind the water tanks and was killed. Peter Jett, 24 years old, from Australia. Peter was the one on top of the water tower that I talked about earlier. Peter Hipsman, 28, from the United States, initially from New York, but we met him in Hawaii. Peter was shot up here in what the government called the dog run. I don't know why they called it the dog run. I don't think a dog ever got in there. But the people that got into the building, into the gymnasium section, I guess heard footsteps in this hallway up there and just blindly sprayed bullets all around, hoping to hit something, which they did. They hit Peter. Harry Jones, 64, who was David's father-in-law, was shot at the front door, standing behind David when the raid first started. Michael Schroeder, 29. He was from Florida. He wasn't out there at Mount Carmel. Mike Schroeder was working downtown at a shop that we'd rented for fixing cars, doing body work and stuff like that. He and 2 other men, Bob Kendrick being one of them, and a guy from England, were down there when they heard what was going on. Because they tried to come up the farm road to Mount Carmel and couldn't get through the roadblocks, so they made a big detour, went around a big circle, and started coming in from the Beaver Lake area through the fields. They were following the creek. Mike Schroeder was out front, and Bob Kendrick was bringing up the rear because Bob was old, had a heart condition and so forth. And so the story we heard in the trial was that BATF had a whole bunch of snipers out on the other property at the back of Mount Carmel in a barn. They'd been there since 7:30 in the morning, which was like 2 hours before all the others. And at some point around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they were told to vacate their position and to go back to the staging area downtown. So these guys, I think, I forget how many there were now, 17 of them or something, are traipsing across the field, 2 of them dressed as trees, with leaves and branches hanging all off of them. Somebody yelled out, "Oh, there's a guy in the creek." So they all hit the dirt and started shooting. Their story is that Mike shot at them. I don't know whether that was true or not. One story I heard was that all that Mike had was a flare gun or something, which isn't much good in a firefight. But anyway, the government tell you that they shot Mike and killed him down in the creek. the evidence shows that after that, somebody came up and shot him twice in the back of the head while he's laying on the ground, execution style. To corroborate that story, one of the guys that was in jail with us said that he's coming up behind Mike through the creek. And when the shooting started, he kind of hunkered down, but he must have made a noise, amongst the branches and trees and stuff. Somebody heard him and they ordered him to come out. So he came out with his arms up. They told him to get down on the ground, and they handcuffed him and started to lead him away. He says, and I heard 2 more shots. This is after the shooting. So that kind of goes along with what the evidence shows, that Mike was put out of his misery. They never retrieved Mike's body for several days. One story is that they hung him on the barbed wire fence, but I don't know whether I buy that, but the excuse was they were too scared to go in there with a helicopter and retrieve his body because we might shoot him from this building here. Now you can't see the creek there from this building. The land, goes downhill. You couldn't even see the big, huge barn that our neighbor had on the property where they'd been holed up all day, let alone anybody in the creek. J. Wendell, 34. Even though she was a white girl, she used to claim she was the only real Hawaiian out of the whole bunch that came from Hawaii. Everybody else was from some other state, just gone to live in Hawaii. She was born there. She's the one that was shot in her bed upstairs on the 2nd floor, shortly after combing the little girl's hair, her children's hair. Also on February 28th, you had 4 agents, like I said. Conway LeBlue, Todd McKeon, Robert Williams, and Steve Willis. It's possible that they were shot by some of our people, I don't know. It's also possible they might have been shot by their own. They're not going to admit it, but some of the evidence seems to indicate that 1 or 2 of them at least might have been shot by their own people. 50 days later, we have the fire. Like I said, the building is demolished within 12 or so minutes. We had a fire right on this same spot back in 1983, 10 years before. There was a fire, electrical fire, was in the roof, and we called the fire brigade, and they came out. 5 different fire stations responded. We had 11 vehicles. The building burnt to the ground in about 5 or 6 hours. Started burning around 7:30 in the morning and lasted till 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This one burned in 12 minutes. First one on the list, Chanel Andrade. Most of us don't know Chanel Andrade. She was only 1 year old. Her aunt, Jennifer Andrade, 19, and Jennifer's sister and Chanel's mother, Catherine Andrade, 24. These girls had come from California. Well, Chanel was born at Mount Carmel, but the 2 sisters came from California, but they were of Argentinian nationality originally. Isaiah Barrios, age 4, and Crystal Barrios, age 3. These were grandchildren of Ophelia Santoya. George Bennett, 35, from England. Susan Benter, 31, from England. Mary Jean Horst, from the United States. She was a friend of Ophelia's. She and Trudy Meyer had heard David speak up in Northern California. All three of them accepted and moved to Texas. Pablo Cohen, age 38, from Israel. Pablo was also originally from Argentina. He was a Jewish boy that David met on one of his trips to Israel. And David gave him an electric guitar in Israel when he was leaving. Just gave it. Says, one of these days you can bring it back or give it back or something like that. Quite a few years later before he came home. Abadawali Davies from England. Abadawala was from Nigeria originally, but came to us from England. Sherry Doyle, 18. Beverly Elliott, age 30, from England. She was the fiancée of Winston Blake. She's also a relative of Livingston Fagan. Doris Fagan, Livingston's mother, 51, from England. Yvette Fagan, Livingston's wife, 30 years old, from England. That's, 32 years old, from England. Both of Livingston's children were negotiated out during the siege. They live in England today. Lisa Marie Farris, 24, from the United States, from California. Raymond Friesen, 76. He was a U.S. citizen, but he'd been born in Canada originally. Dalen Jen, 3 years old. Pages Jen, 1 year old. Diana Henry, 28, from England. Paulina Henry, 24, from England. Philip Henry, 22, from England. Stephen Henry, 26, from England. Vanessa Henry, 19, from England. And Zilla Henry, 55, a whole family from England. Most of these people, not all of them, but most of these people from England of Jamaican descent. But they were citizens of England. Some of them were born in England, but their parents had come from Jamaica. Novelette Hipsman, 36, from Canada. Floyd Houtman, 61. He was from Massachusetts. Cyrus Howell, 8 years old. Rachel Howell, 24. That was David's wife. Star Howell, 8 years old. Sherry Jewell, 43. From California and Hawaii. Sherry's mother just died at the beginning of this year. Kiri Jewell, who you may have heard about years ago, testifying and so forth. about certain things that were supposed to have happened. Carrie just got married this year. And I talked to her on the phone the other day. It was kind of interesting. Marlene had told us that she'd seen on Facebook that Kiri's grandmother had died. So she contacted us, and I called my daughter Karen up in Pennsylvania, and Karen got on Facebook and contacted Kiri. They didn't actually talk, but she sent her a message and said if she'd like to call me, she gave it my phone number. Well, I never heard anything from her for quite a while. Just a couple of weeks ago, the phone rings and it's Kiri. She got married. Told me they're thinking of moving to Texas, probably in the Austin area. So I called Karen after the phone call. She says, guess who called me? She says, Kiri called. Karen got mad. She says, she did. She hadn't talked to me since I contacted her on Facebook. But, I said, give her a call. Here's her phone number. Did I read Star Hell? Chica Jones, 2 years old. David Jones, 38. Kathy Jones' ex-husband. Little one Jones, who was a twin to Chica, 2 years old. Serenity Jones, 4 years old. And Bobby Lane Koresh, who was an assistant to the others. 2 years old. David Koresh, 33. Jeffrey Little, 32. Nicole Little, 24, from Australia. John Mark McBean, 27, from England. Livingston Malcolm, 26, from England. Anita Martin, 18. Diane Martin, 41, no relation to Sheila Martin or her family. Lisa Martin, 13. Sheila Martin, 15. Wayne Martin Jr., 20. And Wayne Martin Sr., 42. Abigail Martinez, 11. Audrey Martinez, 13. Joseph Martinez, 8. These are siblings of Isaiah and Crystal Darius that we mentioned earlier. They are grandchildren of Ophelia. Bernadette Monbelly, 31, from England. Sonia Murray, 29, from England. Teresa Nebrega, 48, from England. James Riddle, 32, from North Carolina. Rebecca Sapaya, 24, from New Zealand. Juliet Santoyo, a mother of the Barrios children and the Martinez children that we mentioned, daughter of Ophelia. Judy Schneider, 41. Lina Schneider, age 2. Steve Schneider, 43. Clifford Sellers, 33, from England. Floricida Sonobe, 34. She came to us from Hawaii, but her family, all her, on her side of the family are from the Philippines. Scott Sonobe, 35, from Hawaii, was of Japanese descent. Aisha Summers, 17, from Australia. Gregory Summers, 28, from the United States. Startle Summers, 1. Hollywood Sylvia, 1-year-old. Lorraine Sylvia, 40 years old. She was an American citizen from Massachusetts, but had been born in England. Rachel Sylvia, her daughter, age 12. Michelle Thibodeau, 18. She's the mother of the twins. And what was it, Bobby Lane? Is that right? Serenity? Serenity. Right? Okay. Margarita Vega, 47. She came to us from Hawaii. She was of Chinese descent. Neil Vega, 38. Was some New Zealand Samoan that was born in the United States. His parents came over on a boat. I think he was born the minute they got here or something like that. Mark Wendell, 40 years old. Included in that list, as those of you that have been here before, were 2 fetuses that were aborted during the fire from Nicole and Aisha. I try to remember all the survivors that have passed on since 1993, and I only came up 12, but I think there's maybe more than that. So if I miss anybody, let me know. Kachep Sumakuna. The mother of Ophelia.
A little louder, please.
Conception Acuna was the mother of Ophelia. Jamie Castillo. Jamie Castillo was one of the guys that spent 15 years in the federal prison. He died of hepatitis shortly after he got released from prison. Edna Doyle, my mother, from Australia. Tilly Freeson, the wife of Raymond Freeson. Bonnie Holdeman, Roy Haldeman, Victorine Hollingsworth of England, Woodrow Kendrick, like I mentioned before, was at Mount Carmel when I first came. He died, what was it, March the 3rd?
The second.
I was 82. Ron and I got the chance to visit Bob and Janet Kendrick just last year when we took a trip east. I hope our visit didn't hasten his demise, but at least we got to see him. At that time, he was still mobile, able to drive, able to walk, and all that. It sounded like he went downhill pretty fast. James Lauder, from North Carolina. Catherine Madison, originally from Rhode Island, became a branch when her family moved to Arizona. Trudy Meyer, like I said, Trudy Meyer, Ophelia, and Mary Jane Borst all came from North North Carolina, excuse me, North California. The last one was Gladys Ottman, Canada. Gladys Ottman was Ruth Riddle's mother. That concludes the reading of the names, basically concludes our service. As you can see over here, we have refreshments, food that's being brought by different ones, mostly by Sheila and some of the other ladies. At the end of the meal, we will leave it up to you to decide whether you want to go to Mount Carmel, whether you want to go to the museum, or just what you want to do with the rest of the afternoon. But like I said, if you want to go to the Helen Marie Taylor Museum, you need to let us know so we can contact curator, or the caretaker, whatever, because he has to come from home to open up. If you do, anybody that wants to go to the museum after lunch, contact Ron here in the middle. He can get a list and see if it's worth the effort to make it a special trip. Okay?
Yes, I'd like to say something. There's too few people here, people. Now, why can't next year we all come back and bring a couple of people with us? We cannot let this die on the vine, okay? Look what these people gave. They gave their family, they gave their lives that day. They survived hell. And all we have to do is come down here once a year and in comfort, eat good food, enjoy good Christian fellowship. Can we make that commitment?
But if you're gonna bring a busload, Tommy, give us a heads up so we can get a bigger place.
If I have to pay for the bus myself, if I could fill it, I would bring it.
Well, like I said, Helen Marie Taylor called yesterday, and she was kind of upset that we hadn't planned for doing it over there, but the museum is plenty big enough, but, or we can just make other arrangements. The idea, we need to know a bit more than just yesterday to get it together.
I would love to see it back at Mount Carmel. A lot of us, if we could work something out with the current resident.
What did you say? What did you say, Blaine? I'm here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry too.
Let's do it.
It's not me stopping it. You've had an open invitation for 20 years.
Okay, well, let's do it then.
Well, then let's do it.
Let's just do it.
That's right. I haven't been stopping it.
Well,
Current
whatever
resident.
it takes, hands across the ocean, whatever it
I'm
takes.
stuck in the middle. I've got nothing against it being at Mount Carmel, except the fact we have two groups of people.
I'll spring for the porta potties.
Two groups of people that come to these memorials. Some, like Mary and different ones, would love to see it back out there. But there have been people over the years that said if you have it out there, we won't be showing up. We've tried to accommodate.
Get over it. Get over
They
it.
just have to not
It's
show
not
up.
a case of me getting over it.
Not you,
I'm
the
trying to
people.
accommodate as many people as possible.
Well, whatever.
You know.
Well, if I could just suggest that if you took a poll here of the people who have come this year, these are the people you have, these are the people that should influence the decision of taking up this offer, not the people that didn't come today, right?
Well, some of them didn't come this year, but I'm saying they have come in the past and may come in the future, I don't know. If they don't respond or if they've dropped out for lack of interest, that's it, look out.
Canada don't have it Mount Carmel.
I would say, look at the survivors. What do they want? What do the survivors want? I would like to see it back to myself, but I'm not one of the survivors.
The only survivors got here are Ophelia, Sheila, and myself today, and Kathy and her family. We'll talk about it. We'll try to work something.
I think I can.